on.
Oh, wait, hold on. Now I got to hold on because the cat walks out.
There's nothing like starting it off with a good old-fashioned train wreck.
That's how we roll.
It is how we roll. I hope we're rolling right now.
We are.
Sketchy AF, Season 3, Episode 2, Take 2. 3.
Check this out. 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 Check this out.
I just wanted to use this, everybody, because Sketchy AF now has a budget. So welcome into the show. I talked with Super Boss, and he allowed me to get this fancy clapper, which is going to help my editor get these shows done in such a professional fashion. This thing, I can't get enough of this thing. Unfortunately, the budget ended when I tried to get chalkboard, so there's no writing on it. Welcome, everybody, into Sketchy AF. This is Season 3. I think it's Episode 2. I've already lost track, which is why I have my good buddy, the social media magnate himself and host of the LFC podcast, Beauty, Strength, and Dominance, Mr. Michael Larkin is my co-host. Everybody, welcome in, Michael.
Dude, I'm feeling good. And yes, it is Episode 2. And I like your little thing. You pay attention to detail. Yes.
I'm hyper now because I got all kinds of fun stuff. Like it's cool.
I like it. It adds a lot to the post. It adds a lot to the post.
Absolutely. It adds a lot to the post, and it increases the platform, Michael, which is what it's all about. We're reaching out in all kinds of directions. In fact, we got some new directions we're reaching out, right?
Damn straight. So besides, and we'll touch upon it at the end, ladies and gentlemen, not only are we on the VIP section of the LFC website and Spotify and YouTube, all the goodish, we are now on WFJA.com/podcast. That's WFJA.com/podcast. Shout out to WFJA in Sanford, another platform for you to get all this sketchy and funny goodness. Links will be in the description, and we want to thank them very much for allowing them with the platform to host this fine program, as well as Lingerie Fighting Championships.
Absolutely. Thank you, all my friends out there in Sanford. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Check it out. Check out all the platforms. I know it's kind of weird because it is a drawing show. So at some point in time, you'll be tempted. Hop on one of those other platforms too to check out the visual if you want to see exactly what kind of scribbling I'm doing on the art table and see what Goofy Mike's up to. There you go. I mean, we're covering every base, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we're covering every base. All right. All right. So that's enough budget. Now I needed another excuse to use that thing. You're like, that was just too damn cool. So this is what's exciting. This is what's cool. This is why I'm so hyper. Actually, it's not because of the little flapper I got. I mean, whatever. It's because I had a vision, and it was a vision that was too big once again for just one drawing, and it centers around my favorite LFC rivalry ever. Everybody knows this, but I'm going to say it again. It's Jolene Hexx versus Bella Inc. It's the major pow. Every time they get in the ring, my eyes are super glued, and it ingrains. I don't even know what it is, but when they get in there, the chemistry and the rivalry that they have, these two ladies, and it puts something in my brain that it can't be dismissed. And as an artist, I'm like, I need to do something. The last time this hit me, Michael, was like, I believe in 2021. Ironically, these two ladies were the first two LFC ladies featured in my artwork.
Yes,
sir. I believe my very first drawing was Jolene's butt.
Jolene's buttocks with the LFC logo on it. Yes, sir.
And in the background was Bella Inc. Yes. Although very undefined. Let's be direct. And then I did a spotlight for each one of them. I actually wound up doing 2 different drawings for Jolene. So there's actually a variant of that. And then I went on to a bunch of other LFC artwork over the next 4 or 5 years, of which they popped in and out of all these different drawings, Michael. They were in the All-Stars one. You reminded me they were in the Sturgis drawings I did for the LFC. They're in your drawing.
Yep.
And you can pop all these into the show to show everybody, just remind them how many times they've been in all these different drawings. And in fact, they actually made a quick appearance in silhouette version in Jasmine Wolf's drawing.
Yep.
So the two silhouettes in the background, that was an artistic nod to the stare down piece that I have right here. We'll be taking a better look at that here in a second. And then in my imagination, I wanted to do something really different. And this is good, taking a nod back to Deck the Halls, where it was something that was artistically very creative. And it was LFC, but it's not something you're going to see in an LFC ring or event. So it's just a step outside of that into my artistic imagination of something I figured fans would want to see. And to be selfish, I kind of wanted to see. So at Street Fights, which is this one here, is something completely different. It's not offered in the LFC. Don't expect to go to an LFC event and see a street fight. It ain't going to happen. But in my artistic mind, what is something? Oh, I wanted to take everybody and myself to a Worlds, to a moment that you can't get, but it's still under the LFC banner. In fact, I checked with our other super boss, Sean, even before I took the drawing that one, because I was very conscious. I said, I don't want to represent something that isn't under your banner. You know, every drawing that I do, every piece of work I do for them is done with respect. It's done with a huge amount of honor. They gave me the title of resident artist, and God damn it, I'm going to sit in that chair and I'm going to do it the right way. And I'm going to show honor to the entire LFC family, my LFC family. So I didn't want to do something that they didn't like or wouldn't represent. But I got the green light, a very enthusiastic green light. Thanks, Sean. So it exploded into another 2-part piece. The last time I did a 2-part piece was for these two.
Yep.
It had the volcanoes in the background, which became t-shirts. I've got a ton of Jolene and Bella t-shirts hanging in my closet, Michael. I've got all kinds of LFC shirts. I've got a Holly May one in there. I got all kinds of LFC shirts in there, which at some point in time, you know what? I don't want to bait a hook without baiting a hook, but I'm going to anyway because it was running in my mind.
Okay.
I might just open up, with Sean's permission that he's already given me, my artwork on an LFC merchandise shop.
Let's do it. Let's go for it.
I'm talking about it. I'm thinking about it, gang. I'm thinking about t-shirts because I got them. They get a reaction. Even if people don't know it, like you walk down the street, they're going to get a reaction. I'm thinking about things. So that's an unplanned announcement, but I'm really thinking there might be something to that.
There's a market for everything, man. And I think when you look at the logos and when you think of these amazing women, I mean, as long as you don't start a fantasy league, I think we're okay. But when you look at the photos,
I need that shirt. I still need that shirt.
if we get the artwork and everything like that, with everything that you've done and everything that encompasses your work, the Tommy Bell Art brand, I definitely got to say it's a buyer, my dude.
I think I'm not sure how much of a market there would be there, but Sean's giving me free reign with all the stuff for the LFC that I've created to market that, you know, and link the LFC family logo and everything to that. So I've had it in my head for a while, and it's really won't leave my brain at this point. How I'm going to do this, gang, I don't know yet, but we're going to figure it out. Like, we're going to figure out these two drawings over here. So without me chatting up and spending the entire episode just talking, because, I mean, it's great for audio, right, my friends in Sanford? That's right. But you know what? I do have to get over to the drawing table, which is directly behind me here, break out some colored pencils. That is my medium of choice. I always use Prismacolor pencils. And I'm going to go and start recreating these women and this incredible logo on this artwork. Let's get over here to the table. All right, everybody. Look, so again, 2-part project, what I got going on here. We've got what I'm calling the stare down. and then street fights. These, and I'm working kind of in tandem on both. So when I do a section on one, I'll jump over to the other one and do a section on it. Obviously, for show purposes, we're going to do a split show. So tonight, we're going to focus on this. Next episode, we'll focus on this. So this way, I'm not jumping back and forth so much. So I'm going to remove the one I'm not working on, which is the Street Fights one. And we're going to jump into this one. And I'll show you what's going on from an art point of view. And then we'll get into, well, there's a lot to get into topic-wise on this one, don't you think, Michael?
Oh yeah. I think when you think of Bella Inc. and Jolene the Valkyrie Hexx, and I'll say it like this, when you have two women who are so strong as far as internally and externally, and they both have their athleticism, one has a Krav Maga background, Jolene Hexx. You got Bella Inc., who has got that scrappy brawler, mean streets type of vibes to her. She's another one who's learning her craft, is really patting down the rear naked choke. And I think when you get these two combustible elements into one ring, like Tommy mentioned, it's magic and it's start of a great rivalry. And I think when you look at Jolene Hex and when we're going to go to, like, she has been one of the most charismatic staples of lingerie fighting championships for her inception with Feather the Hammer Haddon, from her bouts with Andrea the Storm Bladoy, from her bouts with Daniel Cowbell St. Pierre, from her bout with CJ, What's Cooler Than Being Cool, Ice Cold Kellerman. There's so many things that really got her to where she is today, going up to her first bout with Bella Inc. But I just wanted to say both athletes have really showcased themselves sessions wrestling wise, LFC wise, and just in general. They really are two dynamos up in one package right there, man.
I'm telling you, you couldn't have said it better. And there is a magnetism. And if you go back to any of the other episodes where I've done drawings with these two on them, you will hear me talk about this at great length, how I have recognized such a magnetism between the two. And I'm not the only one. Like, the entire LFC family right now is nodding their heads and going, yep, he's got it. I don't know. Nobody knows what makes good chemistry, right? But they do know this. When it's there, it's there. And from the beginning of my LFC artwork, Michael, you can even show a few of these just so to remind people. When I went back and thought about it, I'm like, these were the first two ladies that I showcased. And there was a reason for that. And we're talking 5-6 years ago. I can't even remember it. But there was a reason for that. And that reason was I recognized this incredible chemistry. And I prayed back then that it would turn into a long-standing rivalry. Not with the LFC, it doesn't always work out that way. Some people leave, other people get added, blah, blah, blah. Things change, dynamics change, whatever. But the dynamic I was praying for between the two of these has escalated in exactly the way I tried to mentally manifest it going, I was like, that's LFC. That's it right there. These two jumping in the ring, going at it the way they do. There's never been a bad match. There's never been a one-sided match, which is I can't stand that. They bring the magic. They bring the I could go on, and I know I have in other episodes. So, Michael, I do want to take a second just to tell people, especially listeners as opposed to viewers, and viewers, this will make sense. Again, I'm using Prismacolor pencil. So just to make an art show out of this for 30 seconds, I am working on the details in the lettering of the LFC logo that's prominently in the background of this. And when you do this by hand, Michael Larkin, you realize, first of all, what an awesome logo it is, but what a pain in the ass it is to do all these little details. So right now I'm working with a couple of gray color pencils because it turns out, I'll show you real quick, they have a gray streak going through the bottom of the words lingerie and fighting. Okay? Well, so in order to get that gradient, I need 3 pencils. I needed a very dark, I'm using cool grays, but I needed a dark cool gray, and then I'm using a medium cool gray. I'm not using a light one because it's almost redundant. It's too light in pigment for it to matter, because the last color I'm using then is white, which will provide that great blend that's naturally there in these letters. that I have to do manually. And if you scribble it too much, I know this isn't showing up super because I'm working real small on something right now, camera wise. But when you get a chance to look at the post, when you get a chance to look at the final, study things like the coloring of the letters because there's hours and hours of work that it takes for me to recreate the LFC logo. Boy, I wish their logo was much more Wonder Breadish.
I would look at it like this. First and foremost, one of the best logos LFC with the black and red that really pops the Lingerie Fighting Championships brand. Much like Tommy said, it's the subtleties, the intricacies, and nuances of what you see and the coloring that really highlights these ladies and highlights the brand. I think one of the things that we definitely have to mention, you look at Bella Inc. We are going to get into her first bout with Jolene in a second here, but her rise to where she is now as LFC champion, like you mentioned, you hate the one-sided bouts. I mean, look at Bella's Inc.'s bounce all in all in LFC. We had Genevieve the Sorceress Hexx at LFC 27. We've seen her in there with Agatha Cannibal Carter. We've seen her in there with Audrey Monique. We've seen her in there with so many amazing people. Lauren the Animal Fogel, especially at this last event to WrestleMania. You have a lot of women coming in here and showcasing her toughness with coming back against Lauren at LFC 30 after she just gave birth. We really get to see the toughness that she really provides and she really exudes and accentuates. I think the first time I ever saw her prospect photo when she had the red hair and really got to see a different side of Belling to what she is now, this blonde bombshell, this rough and tough girl who would kick your ass and take your names. One of the things that really resonated and resonated with me was just everything that she put into her overall performance, her pageantry. We talk about one of the best entrances ever. She was always one who you knew when you saw her come out that it was going to be a hell of a show, a hell of a night. Much like Jolene, you knew from the entrance, you knew from her overall smile, you knew from everything that what you were about to see was something special. And I think that really much compliments both ladies when it comes to their work.
Michael, you would rather me skip past this, but I'm not going to.
Go ahead.
You just created, and I think it's because you're excited because of the electric energy between these two, right? I mean, who wouldn't be? You created a word called resignite. Dude,
Resignate. My bad.
no, it's not your bad. It's actually you just coined and created a word, resignite.
Resignate.
Resignating the igniting energy, right? So you just combine two words to create a whole new thing. Now it's resignite. It's all about resignite.
Resignate.
Damn right, my friend. You
Hey,
just did it.
if Flavor Flav could come what she was trying to hypnotize me and
That's right.
That's what I'm saying.
Damn right. I love that. How
But
can you go wrong with that?
you can. And I think what's so great about the LFC product too is if you even recall, like when Jolene the Valkyrie Hex really did her thing that really made her stand out within her role, LFC European Championship bouts with Andrea the Storm Vladoi being her main thing when it comes to the European Championship. We saw her defend it against Melfire in the UK. One of my favorite bouts, and Melfire came very, very close. But I think when it comes to Jolene, when you think of that European title and you think of the solidified moments and memories that she's created, I think when you think of the Hexx, you think of everything and anything, her interactions with Joel Kane, just her interactions in general. She is not one that is very shy on stirring the pot.
Neither one of them are, Michael, which is what makes you can't sell either one of these ladies short because without one of them,
Yep.
you wouldn't have, well, you probably wouldn't have half of my LFC portfolio. Let's face it. And again, there's a reason for that. And it's because it's what's created when they come together. We can talk all night long about their individual achievements, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because the list is crazy. The laundry list of their personal achievements it would cover the rest of season 3. But my focus is when you take these two and you put them together and they work so well together and put on, I mean, anytime you see these two as part of the bill together in the ring, you almost don't need any other show. You really don't. And I don't want to sell anyone else in the LFC short, and it really sounds like I just did. But yeah, I'm gonna get myself in a lot of fucking trouble for that. But no, I honestly, there's a magic that these two have that I am hoping some other two ladies will figure out that chemistry and bring something just as exciting. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm not kidding. Okay, everybody, take a look at this real quick, and then we'll get back into talking about these two. But this drawing is all about these two. In fact, these next two drawings are all about these two. I'm going in with a white pencil now and still meticulously coloring letters. Which, again, you know what? Here's the important thing. Even if I find this kind of work, like recreating logos, I do find it meticulous artistically. I don't find it very creative. But here's the thing. Here's the payoff. If you spend the time and you do it as well as you can, especially with it being so prominent and an important part of this drawing, if you get this logo wrong, or you slop through it, or the background, or their gloves, or anything else, something that you might find tedious, you ruin it. You ruin it. So if you make it, if you take the time patiently, patience buys everything, ladies and gentlemen. So if you take the time and you color in that R for the 500th time with 4 different colors, and you blending, the payoff is that end result. And you do, again, I make these LFC drawings with a huge amount of pride. So there's no way anything's coming off of this art table looking less than I give it everything I have in the moment. Now, it'll be interesting when these are finished, Michael, to do a side-by-side between like this drawing and the very first 2 spotlights I did for them 5 years ago, to see the advancement in my craft. I'm trying to advance my craft in a way that they already have, you know, by honoring them and showing that kind of cool stuff. Now, with that being said, and still, again, gonna make this, even for my new listeners in Sanford, making this still an art show for a minute, I'm gonna put the white pencil down and stop coloring letters. And Michael, you'll notice this. Nothing that's gonna be black is done. Folks, right. The reason is because I put black down as a last resort. That's one of the last colors I want on here, because when you start taking this dry brush like I got this old dry painter brush, it's real soft bristles, silky soft, because I brush off all the little flakes that are left from the colored pencils. You do that with black on there and it's going to stain the paper. And anywhere that I don't have color, I don't want stains because I don't know what I'm doing with it. So that's the danger color, black. So I'm leaving black out of everything until the last minute. But, and real quick, 60 seconds, show you just to be a real pain in the ass. I'm going to pull this up closer. Those letters for Lingerie Fighting, they have little shadows behind them. There's little shadows that are actually red, which means then I have to take this red pencil, right? If I want to finish this E off, for sake, then I got to go in here and fill in real careful that also. So there's so many layers just to coloring in the letters of this logo. Again, it's detail work. It's meticulous. Sometimes it can be a bit boring. I usually have a lot of loud music playing when I draw. I'm not doing that for the episode, obviously, but now the E is done, you know, but it takes all those different layers to do that for the coloring. But I don't want to spend the whole time just working on the LFC logo, because to me, we can make more of a show out of it than that. So I'm going to pick one of these ladies and I'm going to work a little bit on their hair. Now, I might not finish that process, but I'm going to work a little bit on it just so you can see how it's done, because isn't that the point of the whole show? See how it's done. All right, so I'm going to drop that red pencil and those 2 gray colored pencils I was working on, and I'm going to go into, ladies and gentlemen, if you're using the Prismacolor pencils, and I expect everyone who's doing this is drawing along with me, I use a burnt ochre, and I'm basically using the skin tones. There's one major difference, and instead of using a beige for the primary skin tone, I switch over to something that they call sand, and it's got a little more yellow in it without it being yellow, if that makes any sense. So by the time I'm done with it, because blonde hair, the biggest artistic mistake is if you're coloring a blonde is to reach for the yellows. Their hair isn't yellow unless they dye it extreme yellow. Don't use yellows. Sand, cream, white. And for the roots and the shadows, I like to use the burnt ochre because it's a very warm brown. It's the same brown that I will use for the shadows and the skin tones. It just feels very alive. And so that's how I make that choice. Now, Jolene's hair is lighter than Bella's, but they're both blondes. And so you'll see in the next stage where they're both complete how you just use more of one color than the other. You know, Jolene's will have more cream in her hair. So let me do this. All right, I mentioned Jolene. So let's just do this. We're going to go into Jolene's hair over here. And I'm just going to show you. I got the burnt, and I'm just going to start with some shadows. And if you look at the pen lines, you can see that I've already kind of mapped out just with my line work where some of those shadows go. And we're just going to kind of follow them for a little bit and just start mapping things out. It doesn't have to be exact, but I never put a dark color down without being 100% sure that that's where I want it. And I do this very lightly. I'm not jamming this color in. I'm just kind of dotting it because with a darker colored pencil, Michael, as you know, it doesn't take much to put color on the paper. And with my method, it's all about layering colors. That's what will give it a nice blend, a nice realistic blend. And so you don't have to smash in the dark colors unless you're just blocking in one old color. But with hair especially, there's a lot of blending. The whole damn thing is a blending trick. So do it light. Take it easy.
I think that's the amazing part about it is too with what Tommy's saying here, folks, and just blending and taking it easy. When you look at a lot of the photos, and Tommy's worked off a lot of the labor guard photography, shout out to Richard Ender, a lot of these amazing photos, as well as just amazing photos of these two ladies. When you see what they've done in the LFC calendars, when you see what they've done just in general within their fight photos, and we could be here all day with it, like Tommy's mentioned, with their accolades. But the thing about these two that gets us jazzed up and really hyped, we talked about their accolades, we talked about their batches, but I think what was so cool about how we found out that we actually got into this match, because it's really funny that we actually talk about this. How I first came onto Tommy's radar and how I really noticed a lot of Tommy's work was those Bella and Jolene drawings, because I'm like, oh, this is cool. This dude is doing some great work, drawing some LFC stuff, and that led to our first podcast and to where we are today.
My God, that's
I
a
know.
story in itself.
It is, but that's the thing in itself, dude, because a lot of this artwork brings people together, and also a lot of what we do on this pod and LFC brings people together because you're expanding the horizons, you're really opening people's eyes to a different variety and to a different product that a lot of people thought would be very sufficient, and a lot of people are just doing what they do and saying what they say. But once you see it through the right lens, pun intended, of what we get to do here, it's really a wonderful and awesome thing, man. And I mean, Bella Inc., this is around the time you even started watching, man. Bella Inc. comes into LFC in 2019 at
Yeah.
LFC 26 Booty Camp, the first one.
Yep.
What's so cool about this is her first bout was with
Legendary.
Legendary. Her first bout was with Jolene the Valkyrie Hexx in her debut at the Nerd and everything that went into that, the cage. And we got to see a lot of great bouts between them, but this one solidified it for me because you also became a fan around this time, Tommy Bell. And we got to see really just this badass come out right out the gate like a spider monkey, as I would say, throwing them right hands. And Jolene just came out of nowhere and then took her down. And we saw these two women not giving a crap with their kicks, with their strikes, but ultimately in the end it would be Jolene winning. But for me, when I saw this bout, I knew there was something special between these two. I even went out saying I want to see more, and we did get more. But I think when you think of this first encounter and how awesome this was pre-COVID, and these two women just going out their balls to the wall before we would get to their future bouts in Sturgis and in the UK. Would I have thought that in the future we would have seen Bella Inc. as an LFC champion? Absolutely. Did I ever think Jolene would get to that spot? Absolutely. But for where we are now and where these badass women are, this was just the start of something so spectacular and so special.
And it really cemented, if you look, ladies and gentlemen, at the first time I drew the two of these in a 2-part series, they were scrapping it out in an LFC ring, and behind them I put a volcano. And in the first one, the lava's kind of coming down close to the ring. In the second drawing, it's almost surrounding the ring, and they're still going at it. Well, those two drawings came from that first fight. The imagery came from that match. That's how bad. That's how much it affected me. I was like, it spawned a 2-part drawing because I was just out of my mind. I'm like, this is incredible. And I always look at it too, Michael, this way. At least for me personally, because some people might go, "Why you spend all your time? You could draw all kinds of stuff. You spend all kinds of time because it's on these, on especially Jolene, but it's my thank you. They've provided a certain level of entertainment that if I was a fan, you could send an email, or something, but I knew that I had something more to give. I knew that originally the LFC would be very confused about what in the hell to do with me. But the nice thing was they did know right away what to do with me. And I showcase these two as a personal thank you for all their dedication, all their hard work, their showmanship, which clearly goes into each time they go into the ring. The chemistry is undeniable, but it's a whole craft that people, sometimes might look past. And with these two, it's very hard to do, but this is my personal thank you to the LFC and to these two ladies for just really killing it. And I can't lie, I'm a bit honored to be able to be in the chair where I can do such a public thank you in this way.
I think what's so cool about it too is not only just a public thank you, but these are two women who have always supported your work, multiple drawings. And I think when you look at these two,
Yeah.
you mentioned the entrances, man. Like we always go back to the cowboy hat on Tommy's head. We always we always go back to the bubbles that Bella Inc. did against her bout with Ariana Blaze at LFC 36 Booty Camp 4. We go through everything that she's done, whether she's riding on a motorcycle out at Sturgis with the gang. Jolene is just out there smiling and just showing her stuff, but behind that smile is a deadly, deadly game of just overall kicks and strikes and taking you down until you can't stand up. So both of these women have very distinct entrances, but they know how to work an audience. They know how to rock the crowd. And that's what I think really got a lot of them attention in the UK. And that's what got a lot of attention with them in Sturgis and a lot of attention at this first fight in 2019 for LFC Booty Camp. First time we were ever in this venue. First time we ever got to see what they did at LFC 26 onward in Vegas and the Nerd Bar stylings there and everything. So you got to see something special because Jolene had just come back from a great bout with CJ. What's cool than being cool? Ice Cold Kellerman, the Andrea the Storm Vladoy bouts will be here all day. But for the first time ever, seeing someone new in Bella Inc. really highlighted what would be becoming of the LFC Booty Camp concept.
Well, Michael, I do want to touch on one thing that you brought up too, which was the fact that these two, there's no greater feeling. There's no better grade on a report card than to have the people that you featured in your work tell you or support and say, "Wow, that's really cool." And it goes without saying, although you already did, these two have been big supporters of all the projects that I've done for the LFC in which I've showcased them. And you cannot trade that off. I've got, photos with me and the two of them, and I've met them both face to face. And, all jokes aside and all hijinks aside and everything, they're two of the most supportive, awesome people from the beginning, Michael, of my reemergence to the art table. They've been supportive, and man, you cannot trade that. So I'm very humbled and honored that I get their support and enthusiasm, and yeah, what can you say?
Well, no, well, you never know who you're going to resonate and generate with. And I think with what you do, a lot of women love to be highlighted in such high praise like you do with all these great women. And I think like the pictures that you have at them at Women's Athletes on Fire, where you're making the funny faces and you guys are having fun.
That was them that started that too. I was trying to be serious.
Okay, sure. But I think that was
No, I'm Dick.
Dick. No, you dick. So what the the best part about that is you get to see just how fun Tommy is having and engaging with these amazing ladies. There's the infamous photo you took of her, Bella inking you at LFC 35. Like there's so much stuff
Yep.
that, yep, with the cowboy hat we mentioned, but aside from that, like this was a great way for your introductory to be in there as an LFC judge, myself with the announcer. But we've grown, all of these ladies grown as athletes. If you watch one of their bouts from back in 2021 or even their bout in 2019 now, still holds up, but you definitely see there's both growth within those amazing women. And it just goes to show how the evolution of LFC is something that brings people together, brings new talents in, and brings people that you never thought would be here doing it. So there's something for everybody, and this something has given us one of the best doggone rivalries in LFC history.
Right. And the fact that these two ladies have broken that third barrier with somebody who is essentially just a fan in a very real way. Again, that just shows so much more. I mean, it shows a lot about the people that they are, the entertainers that they are, but also just the genuine souls that they are. They're such amazing ladies, and I will always appreciate their support. And like you can't trade that up. It's one thing to draw somebody for a company, it's something else to get very enthusiastic interactions, remarks, comments, things all the time when you feature them, and you cannot trade that up. I think it's fantastic. They're both outstanding, and I could go on, but that's all there is about that. Now, Michael, real quick, I'm going to put down the brown pencil. What I've been doing, ladies and gentlemen, is going in and kind of sorting through and trying to find the shadows again. Yes, I do work off of photos, and again, we've mentioned these outstanding photographers. My friend Richard Amber, Miles Long's taking some great photos. I mean, the people who take these amazing photos are another part of what inspires me as an artist, to capture or create a moment, take their photos and take it into my world and give it a quick twist and do something really cool. Now you'll notice, Michael, with this drawing, there's not much of a artistic shift into something that hasn't been done. So what this drawing really is for me is, when I look back at the first couple drawings I did back in early 20, I think it was January 21.
Yep, January 2021.
Yeah. This is a nod back at those two. This is a nod back at those two drawings at that moment and where I was, because let's face it, when I get to do an illustration featuring the two of these, it's really like taking a holiday. It's really like you kicking your feet up a little, not that you're not trying to do something amazing, but it's not the work involved. It's kind of going back to a very comfortable place, and so I get a huge charge out of doing these two that way. But it's kind of this one as opposed to street fights, which we'll talk about in the next episode at greater detail. But this one is just a nod back. In fact, the LFC gloves are the classic gloves. We're going back, right? I did add some spotlights just to put something new into it. I made the logo, the LFC logo, much more prominent than what was back then in those drawings. Because when I first started drawing LFC stuff, I really tried to find every way I could to back out of drawing their logo. I tried getting around it. I'm like, hey, is it okay if I take it, shrink it down, and paste it in the corner? If you look, I think it's the Sturgis ones.
Yes.
I did that.
Yeah, you have all of them in the Sturgis, and I'll put that photo in the here, folks. But if you actually really look at it, it's small. You have all these amazing ladies and their bicycles and their motorcycles and whatnot, and then boom, there's the LFC so short and stamped in the logo.
I was trying to get out of doing it, and it's not. And Sean gets it. It's like especially drawing after drawing. If you're going, there are some LFC drawings where it's not in there. Like I stopped miniaturizing it because I always thought that was kind of cheap. But I stopped miniaturizing it, and then there's a few, sadly, where it's just not incorporated in. And then it was last year or the year before. I did Bella Rockefeller and Holly Dunaway.
Yep, that was 3 years ago, Tommy, for Bella and
3 years ago?
Yeah, that was when that belt came out. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
But did I do the drawing 3 years ago?
I think it might have been 2 years ago.
I'll
have to go back, but it'll
we're
be
gonna
right
have to
here in
look
the
in the
show.
archives, Michael.
I'll look and I'll put it in here in the show so everybody can
I'll
look.
tell you what. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll have our show secretary look into that. Well, I have a budget now, Michael, so I have a whole staff.
When did this secretary come in here? What secretary is this?
I haven't really hired her yet, but she's going to be
I
hot.
haven't really hired her yet.
She's going to be smoking, buddy.
Okay, Jim Carrey and the Mask, smoking.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it, Michael.
Give me a Cameron Diaz over here. Yeah.
You're a deer for dangding. All right. So, yeah, we're going to get a hot secretary or two in here on staff. So if they don't like each other, they can always mud wrestle or something. So
get in that
oil.
Wow,
that sounded bad.
Get in that oil.
That sounded really chauvinistic and crappy of me. Listen to me go. But I mean, it's, we're in LFC land, so I'm allowed to do that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm looking for. I'll be hiring a couple of secretaries that are really hot and don't like each other. Anyway, I'm going in. I'm actually not, folks. Believe me. My budget stopped at my clapper. Where the hell did that thing go?
Clap on, clap off, the clapper.
Oh, that's my clap on, clap on. Going in with the sand. I'm gonna make an art show out of this damn train wreck if it takes all night. I'm going in with the sand, and I'm actually real quick, gang. Just when I do this, I go over that brown color that I put down so carefully, but I go over top of it deliberately because again, it's what creates or starts to create that blend. Now, it's unlikely that during the course of this particular episode, I will have the hair done. But it doesn't matter because it's not about racing through these. Again, I'm really looking at these drawings, gang, as this. I might be operating at the pinnacle of my skill level. And I don't say that to diminish where I could go or the images I could draw. What I'm saying is I spent years perfecting a style, using certain tools of doing my artwork. And for years, I kind of did it with the idea that the next one, I'm going to learn something from this, and the next one's going to be my masterpiece, and the next one's going to be my masterpiece. And there's nothing wrong with that mindset, folks. But something else hit me really hard, which was like an LFC glove. And that was maybe there isn't any more improving your craft you need to do. You could be operating at full potential with the tools that you have. So now enjoy it, run with it. What images can you make with the skill set that you have? What can you do? I'm not saying I'm not going to challenge myself, gang, because every drawing is a challenge. Every drawing that you do by hand can be screwed up. You can just it's not like other mediums. And I'm not selling anything short. And I'm not saying I'm doing this the hard way. I'm just saying that by hand, you make a mistake, you better know how to fix the damn thing.
Well, I think with you is if we have the blooper tapes of Tommy just absolutely going buck wild.
What are you talking about, buck wild?
We need some bloopers of you just going crazy when you make a mistake. Start throwing some ish. You know what I'm saying? Throw that.
But I'm more like the happy painter. I don't throw things.
I
don't have a temper, Michael.
No, not at all. No. Like,
no, now that would be a drawing show. But you'd almost have to do an unedited live stream that went, because when I get drawing and the music's going and everything else, I draw for 3 or 4 hours. Doing a drawing show, I have to shave down what I'm trying to show people I'm doing instead of just getting into it and going. And Michael, I told you off camera before the show started, everybody, here we go. It's information leak. I had to fix something that I really didn't like about this. 90% of this was turning out amazing. However, look down here. Her arm, the shadowing on the outside shoulder going down to the elbow on Jolene's arm was great, but it was too extreme. It was too dark. And that meant by using colored pencils and pressing in as hard as I do, I had to basically, and I did not know if this was going to work, but I basically took my eraser and started erasing layers, which did not happen smoothly. Absolutely did not. So it was just taking off all kinds of stuff. And eventually, after 10 minutes or so, my drawing was ruined. Her arm was all screwed up. And then, you got to take your tools and go back in and reshade, which is exactly what I did. So you might be able to tell, Michael. So it's much more diluted now. And I think it matches the picture a lot better.
Oh, absolutely. I think when you look at the many stare downs that they had, if this is a stare down piece here, like these two never disappoint. They'll go for one another. There's trash talking galore. And that's even not just the matchup in itself that we mentioned here with their debut, but the trash talking in between. And they kept going right after the bout, which was even even more of the best part about it. You knew you had something special from the flipping each other off, from the trash talking itself. Jolene knows what she's doing. We mentioned the ultimate shit stirrer that is Jolene the Valkyrie Hexx. And like Tommy mentioned, like they both were featured in my drawing that Tommy did so awesomely during 2022 when I was ring announcer for LFC 36. Like when you think of a rivalry, you think of these two. It starts from the trash talk and it starts from the entrance, it starts from in the ring. But when we mentioned the booty camp concept. When you think of booty camp in itself, you think of women like Bella Inc. that started the whole doggone thing and so many new people coming in. Bella Inc. from 2019 to 2026. Now here she is, LFC champion. Jolene is still the European champion. She's been a booty camp champion. She's been an LFC champion. Some of the most decorated athletes here. And when you think of the moments and memories and all the rosters that's come and gone, these two are solidified with LFC's rich history that we see now. So, I mean, who better not only to draw these two than you, but also who better than a rivalry that is exemplified past three events, and even just that first event is something that really sticks out from my hand because that was when I first started LFC. But it's just something that even in such a location and such talents that we had available that night, oh, it was good. Emphasis on the good.
Absolutely. Now, gang, just for the sake of being sakeful, I am going to jump over. I just want to show you real quick. We're still on Jolene's hair here, and I'm far from finished with my sand color. But for the moment, and for the sake of time and a show, and don't worry because we'll be back to talk about Street Fights drawing here coming up too. I just wanted to show you a step. So I'm going to go into the hair that's kind of falling around her face just to show you a lot going on there. So the next thing that I will do is going with my cream pencil. I'm going to go with cream and then I'm going to go with white. And I take cream and I'm basically, now this pencil is super crumbly. So if you see me doing a lot of brushing, it's because this lead is so soft that it crumbles as soon as you put pressure on it. It's a great effect, but it's so messy. Okay, so I'm basically coloring in with this cream all the rest of her hair that's not going to be bright white. So in other words, it needs to really have a severe highlight attached to it. Otherwise, it's going to get this cream color, which will finish off Jolene's hair. Now up here where her hair meets the logo, I got to be very careful because some of those letters are white. So I can't have her hair white there, right? It's going to blend together and look stupid. And I don't want any part of this drawing looking stupid, that's for sure. So, again, later on off camera, I'll take a little bit more time to look at that and get everything perfectly right. But I did want to show, for the sake of people going, what happens next? Because again, when I'm sitting at the art table, gang, each drawing session is a good 3 hours. And what that means is it probably took me 3 hours to put the colors into this logo that are in here right now. That's 3 hours. Each time I did a stage of their flesh tone on each lady, probably 3 hours. So there's a lot of time involved in this. It's not necessarily a process that's drawing show friendly unless you can isolate a few areas where you can work and do something and have it be cohesive. So I'm just going in with this cream color real quick, and it's all about extending out a few highlights. And a lot of this stuff, especially on the drawing show, isn't going to be seen, especially by my Sanford friends. um, and but you will notice it in the end, you know. And it's not necessarily you'll notice, oh my God, he did such a great job putting the cream color in her hair there. That was really something. Probably not. But what you will notice is that there's a very realistic hair color job, hopefully, that's been done. And this drawing show will give you a sneak peek behind the scenes, as it's doing right now, as to the real meat and potatoes that it takes to do what might look very simple in an Instagram or Twitter post. You're like, well, okay, you did the next step. There's a lot of concentration that goes into getting some of these effects and some of these little nuances and things. So now I'm going to place this down and I'm going to grab the white pencil. And Michael, it's back to you for more highlights from Bella and Jolene. Do it. What do you got? Say something.
I'm going to say something, man. Don't tell me what I know and what I'm going to say.
My editor gets very crabby, ladies and gentlemen. Don't ever
I
tell
am
him what
not
to do.
crabby. You stop it. You're the one.
He's very testy.
Whatever.
Get
No.
the fuck out of here.
If you're Manchester United, sing the Manchester United theme song.
See, folks, I knew it wouldn't take him long to get going. That's all it takes.
Oh, God. But yeah. Fucker. So one of the things that's also so awesome, and we mentioned so many times, when it comes to Bella, when it comes to Jolene, also respectively and collectively, we've seen what these two have done in catfights. We've seen what they've done outside of LFC. I think Sessions wrestling in that community, when you think of that community, you think of these two. And a lot of these badasses that we get to see, Bella Ink's doing her thing now. She's looking to get into that Redneck Brawl Ring Girl contest. We also see Jolene, as Tommy featured her on this show as well, as far as her doing her Playboy thing. So both of these ladies outside the LSE auspices are killing it. But I think when you get both of these women, like mentioned, into the ring, and what I always loved about the first ever booty camp, for those who have not seen it, again, go out of your way. Allie Baby Doll Parks, Monica Flowerbomb Garcia, our own girl Jennifer Thomas, aka Jenny Bloody Valentine, against Jessica Psychmat Vetir, and so many great things happen on that show. Another debut on that show, LFC Booty Camp gave us the debut of Tomiko against Shelly Aphrodite da Silva. Shout out to our girl Tomiko.
That's right.
So we had a lot of debuts on that show that we really got to see a lot of amazing women, including our girl Jen, the Real Deal Rep, going against our girl Terry Feisty Fist London. Very short fight, but still, we got to see great people on the Shizzo. And it was one of those things in 2019 where LFC was really starting. We saw our veterans, but there were some more new people coming in. And then, of course, we would start to get to know towards 2021, where Tommy and I met, and we saw the resurgence, and we oversaw saw the introduction to his drawings of the LFC girls, where we saw Bella and Jolene still in the mix. We saw new girls come in like Lauren Ceccarelli. We saw new girls like Veronica Payne come in. Bella Madison, Bella Rockefeller, all of these amazing women that really came in at the time. So if you really look at it, like they were still of the class of girls that were veterans at the time when you and I started coming in to the new girls that we have. The evolution of the roster that we've had in LFC history is just absolutely amazing to see. But I think you can concur with me. Some of the best girls on this roster right now are doing it. And one of the runs at the realm is Jolene, Hexx, and Bella Ink.
Absolutely is. Absolutely is. All right, gang, check this out. So this is her hair's not finished, but if I put my hand over this, that part is. And that's how it's done. That's how blending from A to B. Now I'll probably go in there and you'll notice it in later posts and add some more details and stuff that I'm not gonna, because again, everything takes time. But that's how it's done. That's how the blending's done. That's how drawings like this come about. And I think for this episode, Michael, we're going to wrap it up because I don't want to get too more involved in all kinds of stuff. And there's still a lot to do with the stare down drawing. But damn, people, it's really coming along. It's really coming along. How exciting.
Very exciting. And I think when you think of stare downs, when you think of weigh-ins, because this one over here is a sucker for weigh-ins, as well as manicured toes and everything from Nelly EI, uh-oh, what's popping tonight? Tommy Bell loves him some stare downs. And when you think of stare downs, you think of Bella Inc., you think of Jolene Hexx, the current LFC champion and the current LFC European champion, doing their things. And what a time it is for all the LFC fans to see such a great rivalry being focused in an imagery and artistic standpoint.
That's what this is all about, Michael. And there they are. Again, obviously, there's more done on this one than this one, but I will be jumping back and forth, just like these episodes will be. But look at, gang, how these two, when they're done, I don't even know what to say. But I hope that the LSC family, the fans, everybody appreciates or enjoys or gets some form of entertainment out of what I'm doing here at the table to showcase the company, these ladies. And it's a nod to all the work they're doing. And it's a nod to all the fans, my family, my LFC family. This is what I'm doing for you guys. If we was at a party, this is the way I entertain. This is how it is. Grab a drink. Here's what it is. Okay, everybody, like this is the deal. This is what all the energy about this show is. It's a big, huge thank you to the LFC, to Bella Inc., Jolene Hexx, everybody who's involved with the LFC, all family, friends, blah 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 blah. What can I tell you? So these two are moving along. Next episode, we're gonna take a look over here at street fights, and we're gonna do some stuff there. Now, I'm not gonna be working on LFC lettering, and I'm not gonna be coloring somebody's hair. So it'll be something different, just to show, again, something different. Thank everybody for watching. Michael Larkin, thank you for being the co-host on the show. And is there anybody else I need to thank?
Well,
I'd like to thank my new secretaries. Yes, ladies, come on in. No, stay there. I don't need you on camera now. Stay back there.
so for this knucklehead over here,
I don't know why I did that.
I don't know what. I don't know what you're like friggin' the dude in the wedding ceremony.
What it is Michael's jumping out of his chair right now, trying to figure out if I got two hotties over here. Like,
I
I
am.
need to know what's going on.
I want to see the dime pieces. I want to see the dime pieces, Tommy Bell. So
all in good time, my friend. All in good time.
So if
you have to show up first.
Jesus. If you want to see these two knuckleheads, these two amazing friends, and these two great artists and content creators that we are, check out Sketchy and Funny on the LFC website, the VIP section. Check it out, wfja.com/podcast, Spotify, Tommy Bell Art, YouTube channel, Tommy Bell Art, and of course on the S&M Network shows YouTube channel as well. We got a lot going on. Tommy Bell Art on the Twitter machine and the Instagram and Facebook as well. Please go out of your way to follow Tommy, follow the LFCfights.com for all these amazing shows, all these amazing events, and so on and so forth. I really appreciate each and every one tuning in. Tommy, do you have any final words before we close this out, before we do the part two? Because I will say this. You thought us looking back at Jolene versus Bella in this one and our excitement there. Wait till we get to the next episode. Not only do we get to see Tommy's great drawing, but we also get to talk about the Sturgis event and the UK event. If you want to talk about amplifying the stakes of this rivalry, oh boy, we got a lot to talk about next episode.
Oh boy, and that's what whole thing is about, folks. That's what this whole thing is about. But I thank you, each and every one of you, for watching, listening, watching some more, enjoying being a part of it. Ran out of shit to say, so there's that. And we're ending every episode of season 3 the same way, Michael. We got a whole new gig going on here because it wouldn't be season 3 without something new. So everybody,
Get the fuck out of here!